Good morning. It is my pleasure to welcome you to the Lynch Street CME Church Black History Month recognition and celebration of African American history. Thank you for joining us. We're here to celebrate the vital roles that African Americans have played in the development and progress of America throughout our history. We have found it especially fitting that we recognize Black Americans of the past, and just as fitting to recognize the living legends that are among us as member of Lynch Street CME Church.
Good morning, evening, afternoon. My given name is James Aubrey Vincent Baker, but over the past years, I've used only James Lapp Baker. I was born in Picayune, Mississippi, and I attended George Washington Carver High School, where I was an honor student, and during my senior year, I was the starting quarterback for the Carver High football team, which was national champions, played 64 consecutive football games without a defeat. I was a starting point guard in basketball and starting pitcher in baseball. That football record of 64 consecutive games without a defeat stood for 43 years until 2007 when South Nova of Mississippi broke that record. I attended Jackson State College in 1966 and graduated with honors and was selected who's who among students in American colleges and universities in 1969. I received a scholarship to attend San Jose State University in San Jose, California in 1970. This was just before I witnessed the massacre shooting at Jackson State College on May 15, 1970, something that I would never forget. When I attended San Jose State University, I received a master's degree in urban and regional planning. I was the first Black African American to receive a master's in urban and regional planning from that university. And I also worked for the city of San Jose's city planning department. I became the first Black African American professional city planner to work for the city of San Jose planning department. In 1974, I was recruited and interviewed for a position with the Louisville and Jefferson County Planning Commission located in Louisville, Kentucky. I accepted the position and relocated to Louisville, Kentucky, and became the first Black African American professional city planner to ever work in the history of that city. In 1977, I returned to Mississippi where I accepted a position as Director of Planning and Research for the former Mississippi Health Systems Agency. And I supervised the development and writing of the health plans for the state of Mississippi from 1977 until 1986. No other Black has ever done that since then. I established a consulting firm, a Black planning consulting firm, the first in the history of Mississippi in 1986. In 1996, I was offered and employed as the Director of Planning and Administration for the Hinds County Department of Public Works. Excuse me. There I worked for 17 years, and I wrote and received grants which were approved for over $7 million for the Hinds County Department of Public Works and the Hinds County Board of Supervisors. I oversaw the development and writing of the 4-year road and bridge construction and maintenance plan for Hinds County. I created the first surveillance system for illegal dumping in the history of Mississippi for Hinds County. I created the first rubberized asphalt project for Hinds County in the history of Hinds County. Those two projects were funded by the Mississippi Department of Environmental Quality. I retired from Hinds County on June 30th, 2013. I taught at Jackson State from 1979 until 2003 as an adjunct instructor. I taught 5 different courses there, and I enjoyed it. I created the Hinds County Waste Tire Program, the Hinds County Scrap Metal Program. I initiated the Hinds County Solid Waste Enforcement Officer Program with the assistance of former Hinds County Sheriff Malcolm McMillan, and I established the funding for the Jackson State University Computer Recycling Program, which still is in existence right now. It's over 20 years. I have been a poet, a singer, a songwriter. I recorded as a soloist in 1987, 2 songs that I wrote, and I recorded also with 2 of my frat brothers, James Staples and Willie Ray Norwood, who is the father of Brandy and Rachel. I have performed on the Jackson Music Awards, Jubilee Jam, Mississippi Gospel Music Awards, and in most of the entertainment establishments in Jackson, Mississippi. I became the first Black African American to serve as a board of director for the Mississippi chapter of the Solid Waste Association of North America. I served on that board for 20 years. I created the first legislative bill to protect and include sanitation vehicles as emergency vehicles in the state of Mississippi. And that bill was introduced by State Senator Hillman Frazier, who was also a graduate of Jackson State University. I give all of the credit for everything that I've done to my deceased mother, who was 97 years of age. She taught us that. And I'm also a member of Lynch Street CME Church, which I enjoy. I've been enjoying it for about 30 years now. I would just like to see more Black men get more involved with our young brothers and sisters. We look at February as the established Black History Month, but to me, I think Black history should be 365 days a year. Black History Year. People have to understand that Black people, we built this country for free. For free. We created and invented most of the things that we utilize today. Black man invented the refrigerator. Black people were the ones without food. Black man invented the shoes, but we were the ones without shoes. We invented the signal light, traffic light. We did it all. And here again, I'm appreciative of being selected during Black History Month. Most people who know me, they know I'm not a self-centered person. I used to always tell my students and others that being the first, to me, it doesn't mean anything unless there's some seconds and thirds and fourths and fifths. Because if you're the first and only, that means no one came behind you. So the doors are open. I just want our young brothers and sisters to get back into the educational system. Utilize your brains, because you're probably, in my opinion, the most astute individuals in this country. We're the only race of people who didn't ask to come to this country. Our ancestors were either bought, stolen, or kidnapped and brought over here. But there are many other things that I can say, but I don't want to take up a lot of time. Most of you who know me, you know I will talk. I would definitely do that. But I think that's enough to be covered. So with that, I said thank you very much. I want to say thank you also to my pastor, Reverend Wayne Williams, to the young lady who videos this, Ms. Chelsea Gladney, to Ms. Julia Harris, and the entire congregation of Lynch Street CME Church. I thank you very much. And finally, I do want to recognize a couple of individuals, maybe more than a couple, of Black legends. First of all, Frederick Douglass, who was born in 1818 and learned to read and learn his alphabets when he was 8 years of age. The wife of the white owner was teaching him, and the master didn't want that to happen, so he told him, don't do that, but it was too late. He had already learned, One of the striking things that really impressed me about him, and don't get me wrong, this was just a joyful thing to me when I read some things about him. When he was 16 years of age, his master commenced to whipping him, wanted to because he had whipped him before, but he whipped the master. And it took a few hours for him to get off of the master, if you want to call him the master. But also, there's an individual who we all need to read about and learn about him, because he saved this country, and that's Toussaint Louverture. He was a Haitian back in 1801 when Thomas Jefferson was the president. He was elected president of this country. And it was Toussaint who saved this country, because Napoleon Bonaparte had slicked Thomas Jefferson, and he went to Haiti to fight Toussaint and the Haitians. But he was defeated by Toussaint Louverture twice. The only mistake that Toussaint Louverture did was he decided to go back to France with Napoleon in order to save his people, to keep them safe. And when they took him back over there to France, they killed him in prison. So I'm quite sure that you all have heard the company used to be the 3M company. Well, I have 6 M's for our former Black leaders who I have a tremendous amount of respect for. And the first M is Marcus Garvey. Second is Mandela, Nelson Mandela. Third, Martin Luther King. Fourth, Malcolm X. Fifth, Medgar Evers, right here in Jackson, Mississippi. And the sixth M is Muhammad Ali. These were powerful black men. So with that, I bid you farewell.